Hey guys, welcome back to the Cult Classic Kids Show, and today we have to talk about GTA 6 because Take-Two has spoken about GTA 6. Take-Two has essentially, in my personal opinion, given us the biggest warning when it comes to this game, and I think we have to temper our expectations in some regards when it comes to GTA 6. Now, GTA 6 is no doubt the most anticipated game in over a decade now. We are like everybody is going to drop everything for GTA 6. Me, I don't know if I'm going to get it day one or not. For me, it's like, I can get it on the console if I want to, but do I really want it on the console? I haven't enjoyed a GTA game since San Andreas out the box. Later on, I grew to enjoy GTA 4, but it was a long time later to grow to appreciate it after trying to like GTA 5 for this past entire decade. It just hasn't worked out. So that's how I feel about Grand Theft Auto. I mean, everybody, in my opinion, seems to like Grand Theft Auto besides some outsiders, apparently, but it is what it is. I have my taste and everyone else has their taste, and that's understandable. But all tastes aside, just being objective, guys, I have to warn you all because what Take Two is talking about with some of their most recent information drops, it is concerning. It is very concerning. I think everyone should be concerned and have tempered expectations in some regard. And we're going to get into it right now because GTA publisher Take Two is worried about review bombing. And this is definitely an interesting take, by the way, guys. So they said the review bomb can be a powerful tool in helping gamers get their voices heard when something isn't going right with a particular title. And this is absolutely 100% true. It is one of the only means of speaking out in a way that actually makes developers and publishers and companies pay attention because everything else, for the most part, seems to just go through one ear and out the other. But so much so that Take-Two, the parent company of Rockstar Games, noted in an SEC filing that review bombs can impact sales as well as the company's reputation. Rockstar was on the receiving end of review bombs at GTA Trilogy launch with numerous bugs and other issues. And I don't understand why they keep calling it review bombing. It is accurate reviews when it comes to GTA Trilogy. GTA Trilogy is a mediocre game at best, a downgrade in so many ways in comparison to the actual PS2 trilogy of Grand Theft Auto games. It is deservingly so. The wording that they keep using all the time, which is call it review bombing, makes it seem as though it's nefarious when gamers do, in fact, quote unquote, review bomb games or review games as they so deserve to be reviewed. GTA Trilogy did not deserve good reviews. And that's just a reality. It was reviewed as it should have been. And really the fact that they keep using this and this term so loosely, it is concerning. It's a means of trying to control the conversation. And they say every now and again, gamers band together to execute a review bomb is exactly what his name implies. And calling it a review bomb implies that all these companies and even some of these websites that do review games themselves, they seem to think reviews are only acceptable when they're positive for their said corporation of choice. Mind you, some of these review sites also review bomb games, quote unquote review bomb games, but it's credible when they do it. Meanwhile, we've shown plenty of instances in the past that a lot of these websites have their own ideology in mind when they choose to review a game, not necessarily for the game's worth itself, but to continue, it's exactly what the name implies, where hundreds upon hundreds of negative reviews are unleashed on a title in a form of virtual protest. Some of these coordinated efforts have been because of how poorly a game runs or in response to potential changes that our larger gaming world that the larger gaming world disagrees with. For the most part, they are effective, with publishers often making amends one way or another. They're a powerful tool, and it turns out video game publishers are aware just how impactful they can be. Just as Take-Two, the larger holding company behind 2K and Rockstar Games, the makers of Grand Theft Auto, how they feel about review bombs. Hint, they view them as a risk to commercial success. Take-Two fears the impacts of review bombs as first spotted by Stefan Totilo in his GameFile newsletter, Take-Two recently made mention of potential impact that review bombs can have it in most recent 100K filing with the SEC filing, which can be accessed here, notes that review bombs impact potential sales as well as profits. It can also harm the reputation of a company. In particular, Take-Two filed the following. Furthermore, obtaining and maintaining high ratings in our games on the third-party platforms on which we operate are important as they help drive players to find our games. If the rating of any of our games decline, or if we receive significant negative reviews that result in a decrease in our ratings, our games could be more difficult for players to find or recommend. In addition, we may be subject to negative review campaigns or defamation campaigns intended to harm our ratings. Any such decline may lead to loss of players and revenues, additional advertising, marketing costs, and reputation harm. And it is true. This is absolutely 100% true. And what is concerning about the way that they're discussing this is the fact that they're automatically going to the negatives. When I see that, it makes me immediately say to myself, well, what nonsense do you guys intend to push with GTA 6? Because this being overtly negative wouldn't be a thing if you did the right thing to begin with. And these companies know what the right thing to do is. Don't try and make excuses for them. They know what gamers want. But that is most of the time with a lot of these companies, especially some of the bigger companies, that is most of the time the last thing that they have in mind when it comes to their games, when it comes to game development, when it comes to how their overall game design tends to end up being in modern day. The last thing they have in mind is what gamers want. And that's the big concern. And mind you, Take-Two has been absolutely nefarious with how they choose to launch their games. The biggest example I can give is with Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, if you guys remember correctly, I've never forgotten this, but when Rockstar launched Red Dead Redemption 2, they only launched the single player, which was, for what it's worth, relatively phenomenal. I had issues generally with the play control, but, for the most part, other than that, the game was truly a level of quality that other games at the time could never even hope to have achieved. Like, really, there's some great things about it. So they did that, and then I don't know how many weeks later, it may have been a month later, Rockstar ended up launching Red Dead Online, which was absolutely fucking atrocious. And this is what happened with reviews. So the fact that they launched the online version of Red Dead 2 later, the Red Dead Online was not reflected in the review scores for Red Dead Redemption 2. And so they got insanely great review scores for only half of the game. And then the other half, which is the absolute mediocre cesspool piece of shit that Red Dead Online launched as, well, it wasn't reflected in the critics' review scores. So that is absolutely nefarious as fuck, hidden by, oh, well, we need more time for this specifically. That's all excuses. At the end of the day, when a game is done, a game is done. Don't launch a video game until the entire thing is completed. But this benefits them from a commercial standpoint to have great critical reception. And they absolutely took part in nefarious plotting to get that good critical reception when the entire game did not deserve nearly as good of a critical reception. Now, Take-Two can't pull that with Steam. With the Steam review scores are some of the most important and some of the most highly regarded things in gaming. So many people go to Steam to get an idea of what a game is looking like. And at any point, and we've seen it with Helldivers too, a game could be great. And then Rockstar, for example, could pull the same shit that they pulled with Red Dead 2 with Grand Theft Auto 6. Launch a solid single player campaign, and then a month later launch the online to avoid the critically negative or mid reviews if the online portion happens to be some of the most egregious, disgusting business practices, or just overall a hot steaming pile of shit, they could avoid that negative critical reception for the online. But with Steam, like with Helldivers 2, you can launch the game, and the game could be pretty solid, and then later on, you can launch the online, and you would have gotten good Steam reviews from the single player portion being solid, and then Steam reviewers could play the online and be like, oh no, this is some of the most disgusting, heinous things that Take-Two and Rockstar are trying to pull with the online, so I'm going to go back and amend my review score to make it negative. And I think this is a huge reason why, specifically, Rockstar and Take-Two are choosing to withhold GTA 6 from PC for at least a year. They really, by that time, it is what it is. And unfortunately, all of these other platforms don't have respectable review ability like Steam does. Like, all these other platforms, some of them don't even have an ability for the user to review the game at all and give it a proper scoring, or if it's positive or negative. A lot of them don't, or they're not valued at all. And so that's the issue. And this, I think, is likely one of the biggest reasons that GTA 6 will not launch day one on PC. Even Take-Two fears Steam user reviews, as they should. And really, it's sad that they're speaking negatively about users' ability to properly, accurately assess their games. It's sad that they have a negative thought process of this, because if they were doing the right thing, they would not have to worry about this. But they're not doing the right thing. Or I'm convinced by this. You could feel however you want to feel, but I'm convinced like this, they're not going to do the right thing. And given how GTA 5 has turned out over the years, are we at all surprised? But I predict, and like I said, prediction, Grand Theft Auto 6 may end up pulling some of the most heinous of business practices upon gamers that we have ever seen before. And they have every opportunity to do so, because no matter what, there is millions upon millions of gamers that will buy this game no matter what nonsense they pull. And it's sad that that's the case, and there will also be people that will absolutely 100% defend Rockstar despite any bullshit-ass business practice they happen to pull. And that's also very sad. But to continue on and finish this off, they said, in other words, Take-Two is very much aware of the power of review bombs. After all, it wasn't too long ago that the company was subject to review bombs themselves. That's because when Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, Definitive Edition trilogy, was released in a poor state, complete with bugs and other glitches, hundreds of fans review bombed the game across all its platforms. At one point, the PC version had a 0.1 on 0.5 on Metacritic, while PlayStation version had 1.0 score. And it was completely deserving. GTA Trilogy is dog shit. And it's not review bombing, it's accurately assessing how absolutely garbage that release was. And the fact that we can't distinguish the difference is also pretty sad in its own right. But earlier this year, Helldivers 2, Sony's breakout live service hit, was one receiving end of review bombs after its PSN fiasco. The problem was quickly sorted out, and Arrowhead Game Studios even announced that it would create in-game cosmetic to commemorate the event. That said, there's no doubt that the momentary bit of negative impact potentially would be sales. While it seems highly unlikely that Take-Two's next big venture, GTA 6, will be the subject of a review bomb, stranger things have happened. After so many years without Grand Theft Auto title, in Rockstar's general push for GTA Online, there certainly does exist a scenario where fans could bomb the game if it isn't up to their expectations. And absolutely, there's nothing like crazy to think when it comes to Grand Theft Auto it potentially getting negative reviews. I mean, it could be, and the thing is, Grand Theft Auto is no doubt going to be great in some instances, absolutely revolutionary in some instances, but that isn't going to stop a mega corporation from trying to pull some of the most egregious fuck shit that we've seen in gaming. A lot of these companies try their very hardest to one-up each other at this point. That probably remains a slim chance at best. The gamers such corporate dick eaters, man. They're such corporate slavery is insane. Still, it's interesting to know that companies truly do take notice of what the community is doing. More so, it's going to show how impactful the gaming community can be in getting its voice heard. And mind you, it doesn't matter how badly, if, theoretically speaking, of course, if Rockstar happens to pull something so insanely egregious, or Take-Two, whatever, in terms of Grand Theft Auto, something that is completely ridiculous, people are still going to buy and support the game. It is what it is. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Rockstar is ever going to fix any of the egregious shit in the game. Did they really fix Red Dead 2 Online? No, they really didn't. I mean, they made it better in terms of adding more content to a relatively contentless game, or what felt like a big nothing burger of an online when it first launched. But did they take out some of the insane shit in that game? Not that I recall. To this day, GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition still is trash. Like, it's not good. Absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't matter if you do review bomb the game if it happens to be bad. They still seem to just not care anyway. They may be concerned. They're concerned because they're definitely gonna pull some bullshit with GTA 6, I'm convinced, but are they really gonna do anything about it at the end of the day? No. No, sadly not. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Twitter or Twitch if you want to continue the conversation. Guys, hit the bell notification on my channel if you can, because, well, less than 20% of my subscribers actually even get notifications of when I drop videos. So if you can, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified, man. Let's get it past 20%. That'd be dope. Also follow my movie channel at The Movie Cage. Definitely have an interesting video planned that I hope to get up sometime this week, but it is my birthday week, so it might get pushed to next week. We'll see what happens. No promises, but yeah, with all that being said, I'm out. Peace.